grief is loss of many things. My first loss of a person, I think, was an aunt who succumbed to dementia when I was 8. But I remember feeling like she was the only person in the world I got on with in my family. And then she disappeared. I don't know how to describe it, really, other than I really missed her. It was weird because I knew she was still there, but she was in a hospital where she remained until she died when I was 18, but I never saw her again. It was weird. It was like I don't know, just confusing, I guess. I didn't know she had dementia. I don't know why I didn't know. I don't know if no one told me, or if it wasn't called that then, or I don't know why. My grandmother died during that time. I remember being very distressed at how distressed my mum was, because that was her mum, which was the main effect on me. Maybe it's different when you're a child. I think I was 12, so maybe not quite teens, but I think I was 12 when she died. In my early 20s, very early 20s, my mum was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and that felt like a loss, or grief, I guess. That was really hard. I was aware at the time how devastating that illness is and how long it takes to kill you. At that time, it took around 15 years on average, and she did live for 16 years after. So I was horrified at what was ahead. She never was able to actually accept that she was ill. She didn't cope with it at all. So she suffered terribly with anxiety around her illness, which was really painful to see. Parkinson's symptoms are intermittent from minute to minute, hour to hour. She'd continuously think that there was nothing wrong with her and she was fine, and then 2 minutes later she'd be paralysed again, and then the panic would return, and I just had to witness that over and over and over again. Everyone was upset and sad, but I don't know anything more than that, really. It was just something I felt quite alone with as well. That is 21 years ago now. And Christmas is a really bad time. Christmas is a really bad time but not for the reasons that other people might have. My parents had a small shop, and Christmas was the busiest time of the year. And it was a time when the family, parents and my 3 siblings and me all pulled together and helped out. And although I didn't maybe realise it at the time, I've come to realise that it was the major way that I connected with my family was to work with them. because we didn't really get on, especially my brothers and I. Being with them at that time of the year, wherever I was, I would go back home and just this feeling of all being together and working for a purpose, I guess. And it being that time of year. So it wasn't a kind of happy, all-together family time. Everyone was exhausted and overworked, bad-tempered. But it was still a way for me to be with them and connect. I didn't have those words about connecting with my family until actually only a few months ago. Talking to a psychotherapist pointed that out and I realised she was right. So Christmas is really painful for me because it reminds me of my mum and my dad, my two brothers, and they're all dead now. And it reminds me of the shop that isn't there anymore, which was the centre of my universe as a child in my 20s and 30s. And it doesn't exist anymore. They don't exist anymore. In addition to that, I've never had that kind of Christmas that other people have. The ones you see on TV. I know not everyone has that. I know a lot of people don't have that. I don't mean to be disrespectful there. My dad lived a much longer life. Was in extremely poor health for the last 19 years of his life. He died in 2018. When he died, I experienced some kind of mental health thing. I didn't tell anyone it was happening because I wasn't sure what would happen to me if I told anyone. But for a few months, my brain decided that my parents were both still alive and that I was going to go home and work with them for Christmas and that our shop was still there. And I actually believed that for months. It went away once the actual Christmas had passed, but that was really scary that I believed that. But I think that's just the power of grief, I guess. Maybe trying to protect me or something. The first time we spoke was the day that one of my brothers died. He was the second brother out of my two brothers to die. And he died 10 months after the other brother, which was quite a lot. And coming after when my dad died in 2018, I very nearly died in 2020. And then my brothers died in 2022 and 2023. It was quite a lot. A text message from his wife. He had been the one who contacted me to tell me about the other brother. And I knew there was something wrong because the second one to die, that was only the second time he'd ever phoned me in his life. So I knew someone had died or was dying. And I wasn't able to go to either of the funerals because I couldn't face going alone. And no one contacted me about it or tried to help from the family. family by that point would be my two sisters-in-law and my sister. And I don't know what they think about me not going to the funerals. I don't think they think about me at all. And losing my brothers has been really complicated, I guess is the word, because we weren't in each other's lives, and that was their choice, not mine. I spent my whole life wanting to be close to them and have relationships with them. It wasn't something they wanted. And when they died, more than one person said to me that they were surprised I was upset because we weren't close. But I am upset because I still wish we'd gotten on, and that's never going to go away. And I don't want them to be dead. I want them to be existing still. They both had partners and children and grandchildren. They had so much, and all these people have been left without them, and I wish that they still had them. My sister suddenly stopped speaking to me 10 years ago. That's been a massive loss. And that was due to her inability to cope with my mental health, which is a thing that's happened with other people too, and that is, I don't have the words to describe how deeply distressing that is. Grief isn't just people dying. Grief is loss of. Grief isn't just people dying.